Dalton Risner finally going to get some starting time. When the Minnesota Vikings pulled off the signing everybody had been asking for last week, bringing in free agent guard Dalton Risner, we all thought, there we go. He's just going to come in. I know it's going to be short notice, but we've done it before. He's going to come in on short notice. He's going to jump right into that offensive line, and we're automatic, and just going to boom. Our offensive line is going to become better, right? Not exactly what happened. Obviously, we went into the Chargers game, which a lot of people felt was a must-win game. Went into it with him. He was active, but he didn't get any playing time. Ed Ingram, as their Cleveland, still your main, your starting guards. A little bit disappointing, right? Vikings lose the game, and it kind of is what it is. But finally, time is finally here. Ben Gessling of the Star Tribune reports today. Kevin O'Connell said Dalton Risner will get some work with the Vikings first team offense in practice today.
Let's go.
Obviously, we've already gone over it plenty of times in both of our previous Dalton Risner videos. The stats, the comparisons between Ed Ingram as well as Ezra Cleveland. But we're just going to get down to the nitty gritty with this. We've already talked about that enough. We're going to talk about what this means for the Vikings starting offensive line. Now, the big question I have initially with all of this is why wasn't this done like last week, right? Like, why do you wait until after week 2? You're already 0-2 to bring him in, right? And you go into this game against the Chargers, your second out of 8 games at home, right? And you think, perfect, put him in there because you need to find a way to win this game. And he doesn't play. And same thing with Cam Akers. Make the trade. Akers is inactive, right? And now, like, it's just the timing seems weird to me. You're going to get him first team reps, and you're already 0-3. You're already in a hole. You're 2 games out of the division lead.
Yeah, it
just seems weird. But also, I mean, it's nice to see that they're going to make the move now, right? Because I mean, it hasn't been said if it's going to be Ezra or Ed Ingram, as we all know. Ed Ingram has been less than satisfactory. He's been a disappointment. Ezra Cleveland has been average at best. So Dalton Risner needs to find a spot along this line somewhere. We're hoping it's in place of Ed Ingram.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing. I want to jump in here real quick because I don't know if we've seen who he was getting first team reps instead of, or was he mixing in with Cleveland and Ed Ingram?
Kevin O'Connell said they'll get the best 5 out there.
They'll get the best 5 out there. So he must be mixing in with Cleveland and Ed Ingram, which is interesting. And I do want to actually say about Ed Ingram is he actually had one of the highest grades, PFF grades last week. Not in passing though. He had
I heard his run blocking was really good.
But his run blocking was really good.
Yeah. Which obviously previously, I mean, it was the first game we had actually gotten over 100 rushing yards.
Right.
That helps.
But yeah, and back to your point about the whole last week. I know some people are saying, conditioning reasons, which does kind of make sense since Risner hasn't played at all this season, or he wasn't on a team this entire training camp or anything like that. I'm assuming he kept himself in good shape up to that point. So it could have been like that, but at the same time, of what we've seen with Ed Ingram, it just felt like there's nothing to lose type of situation.
Right.
So hopefully going forward, they feel confident with Risner, and we see him on Sunday against this Carolina team that we should have no problem beating, but we shouldn't have any problem beating.
Right.
Who knows?
We've said that before this season.
Yeah.
But yeah, and the conditioning thing, I do understand that, but if that's the case, like, and I think that's the people's main complaint with Kwesi at this point is why didn't you get the signing done when he visited you back during training camp, right? You're worried about his conditioning. Well, there he is. He's working out with your team day in, day out. He's getting in football shape at practices. I mean, whether it's the guaranteed money thing or whatever, you still ended up giving him $4 million. What was it, $1 or $2 million guaranteed in that deal? So at the end of the day, he's still getting guaranteed money. So it's just weird to me that you chose to bring him in when you're already in an 0-2 hole, and then he is not going to start until you're 0-3. I don't know. It's just the timing seems weird, but either way, it's a change we need. And I get it. It's week 4. You're not going to give up on your season yet. I mean, fans are already looking forward to next year's draft and tanking and all that. But like the team isn't ready to call it quits yet. Like there's still a long season left. You're going to have to steal a couple games. You're probably going to have to beat the Chiefs and either
or San Francisco.
I think, or both, or win maybe the Bengals at the end of the year. Yeah. And you're going to have to win the games that are winnable to you. But so they're obviously they're not going to give up on the season at this point. So that's, obviously Dalton Risner's got to get in. If they have any chance, the offensive line needs to be shored up. Say what you will, love him or hate him, Kirk Cousins, for the most part, doesn't have enough time to operate the offense fully, knowing the limitations that Kirk Cousins has for this team. So you have to get your best 5 offensive linemen out there. And frustratingly, our best 5 have not been good enough up to this point. I mean, is one guy in Dalton Risner going to fix all of it? We sure hope so.
Though, Bradbury was limited participation
Okay, so he's coming
today,
back around too.
so
But
there's a chance he might come back too. So Bradbury, I mean, Schlotman has not been looking good. Obviously, people have their feelings about Bradbury, but so far, if we had the Bradbury that we had last year, that's an upgrade from Schlotman. So him coming back and Risner, that could be enough. It could be enough to at
Right.
least take a decent sized jump in protecting
Yeah.
Kirk.
I hope so. I hope so. But obviously, we got to get the offense rolling. The running game needs to keep going. Got to limit the turnovers. Hopefully, Dalton Risner steps in and won't be knocking the ball out of Kirk Cousins' hands. And there we
Or
go. But I
stepping
mean,
on his
but
foot.
but in order to get back into this thing, win a couple of football games, the offensive line needs to be the number one priority, fixing it, and hopefully Risner jumping in there, getting some starts. Hopefully, that's the first step on the path to getting this team back on the right track. But we want to know your guys' thoughts. Dalton Risner getting first team reps this week in practice. Will he start? Let us know down in the comment section, and we'll see you guys next time on the GG Sports Podcast.
Skol Vikes.